Hello, everyone. It's Joel from kidneyforjoel.com. And today is day 5 of the National Kidney Month celebration. And I wanted to share just my random thoughts and my journey with you briefly. I just came from dialysis, and I'm tired, not exhausted, but I'm tired. That's the thing about dialysis, man. It gives you life, but it sucks the energy out of you because it's like 4 hours of cleaning your whole bloodstream. So it's actually quite invasive for the body. But it's it's a necessary inconvenience because again, without dialysis, I'd be dead. So I wanted to talk to you about self-discipline today. But before I do that, I just wanted to share with you my day. I woke up pretty early this morning. And did some paperwork, contacted my insurance company because there was some miscommunication about my the new insurance company that I am with, and it's a pretty what do you call this, huge mistake, but it's being handled right now. I hope I don't get passed around again because it's really costing about $1,000 a month for me to keep that insurance. So anyways, I went through that, paid my bills, and online, of course, for more convenience, and then, went about to see, how many patients did I see today? 1, 2, 3, 4 patients. So by the time my workday ended at around 4:30, 5 o'clock, I had to get ready for dialysis, which is from 6 o'clock to about 10:30. And, I don't look forward to my dialysis, to be honest with you, because it really sucks the life out of me. However, it's necessary inconvenience for me to live. And I'm thankful that despite the fact that, I'm getting dialysis, I'm still able to function pretty normally. I just want my life back. That's why I'm really working hard to get and find my living kidney donor match. Because again, it's no fun to be sitting and reclined for 4 hours where you can't really move that much on a chair, and that's like that's like for 4 hours 3 times a week. I've been on dialysis for 3 years now, and it's never been fun. So anyways, I wanted to talk to you about discipline today and relate my kidney journey. So I told you about my kidney journey between age 4 and 6 in my hometown. Again, with this traumatic experience when I was still an infant, which really was in my subconscious mind. But I had a great childhood and memory, especially between age 6 to 8, when I was still in my hometown in Tabang Leyte in the Philippines. And really, the way I learned self-discipline, because a lot of people are wondering how'd you lose a lot of weight, and really persisted, and it took you quite some time, and you're still maintaining it after like 7.5 years. Um, how do you have the willpower and the self-discipline to not only get started but get going and really persist until I succeeded with my weight loss goal? And so I actually learned self-discipline from my parents, but mostly my father. See, he was a medical doctor, so he had a quite a rigid life, going through medical school and going through college, and I do remember that whenever I broke the rule, like one rule was be home by sunset. I do remember that when I broke that rule, which was a few times that I did, I was about 6, 7, 8 years old. He had me, kneel on my knees and, with my arms stretched out for practically an hour. So he had a different kind of way of disciplining his kids. I had a belt a few times. And I learned just to really follow the rule and have self-discipline. But I can remember well, though, that after I was transferred from our town in Leyte to Manila, where I went from 4th grade to college at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila, the Philippines. There were 7 of us. I was number 6. I'm number 6 kid, and we didn't have our parents with us. So practically from age 8.5, 9 years old until I was about 20 when I graduated from college, and then came here when I was 21 years old, coming to the U.S. I was self-sufficient. I would see my mother probably for the longest is like 2 weeks, 3 to 4 times a year, and my father I would see probably at the most 2 or 3 times a year. So I've learned to be, self-disciplined, tried not to get into trouble, especially at that young age, and in my high school years. So I learned early on about the power of self-discipline, and also there was some kind of an unsaid rule from my father that in school or going to school, getting good grades was my only job, or were our only jobs. We didn't have to work. I didn't have a job until I was 20, after I graduated from PT school. So I didn't really do any fast food or any other jobs except being a physical therapist. Because again, that was their goal, is to get us through school. They paid for all our expenses, of course, living and board and all that, and tuition, the books, Although I had a scholarship in high school and college that, among the seven of us, they didn't really have to pay for my tuition for 8 years, because we went to a private school, which is University of Santo Tomas, for most of the seven of us. So that's how I learned first about discipline, and I took it with me through my teen years, through my college years, and even coming here. And I apply it to as many areas of my life, especially now that my kidney disease has progressed to stage 5 or end stage renal disease, because you have to be disciplined with what you eat, what you drink, keeping active on a daily basis, making sure that you don't really succumb to depression, to worry, to anxiety. Although in the beginning I had to, like 3 years ago when I first got into dialysis, and I went through not depression, but low part of my life. But I went through a lot of challenges in my 20s and 30s that I was able to, really get over, or at least overcome this fear of the unknown, because I don't really know how long I have, and so I'm just keeping myself as disciplined as possible. Of course, I'm only human. I that addiction to salt that I developed when I first ate my first roasted chicken at 8. That I still have that craving for salty. I don't have the craving though for sweets as much as I used to. But you just basically, and the one thing I know to make yourself be disciplined is actually you schedule the most important things or priorities in your life. And that's the one thing I learned from the book, The One Thing, and also from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, is to schedule your top priorities, that's related to your purpose. And that's another thing, if you know you have a purpose in life, if you know that you're here on this earth for a purpose, you know why you're here on earth, then, somehow the priorities follow and the discipline follows, but it's still a constant, not a struggle, but a constant, daily maintenance and making sure that, I'm at my best shape, because the main challenge I've had ever since I had dialysis, I started on dialysis 3 years ago, is the lack of energy. Like, for example, before I had dialysis, even though I was on stage 4 chronic kidney disease, I would see at least, thank you, Michael, I would see at least 8 to 10 patients a day in home health. I mean, that's a day, a full-time home health physical therapist sees about 5, at the most 6 patients a day. But I had, even at stage 4, I still had this tremendous energy. And I've always wondered. I've always had this tremendous energy. I was blessed, even though I fought or I struggled for the past 51 years with this chronic kidney disease, unbeknownst to me for the most part, until I was 35. For some reason, I was blessed by God with this tremendous energy. I remember in high school, in college, I was class president, student body president. I was into, I used to run, I was in a track and field, and then, I did very well in class, because for some reason I have this drive. Many of my classmates back then, especially in high school and college, thought I was gifted with this high IQ. No. In fact, I was tested when I was a senior in high school. My IQ is only 100, which is just above average. But despite that, I still graduated on top of my class, both in high school and college. And looking back now, it's this drive. It's this, I don't know, drive that I've always had. I have tamed that strong drive to succeed, that pursuit of excellence, especially in the last 3 years, because now it's no longer about success. It's now about significance and leaving a legacy. So anyways, that's all I wanted to share with you. So if you know anybody who has chronic kidney disease or on dialysis, please understand that most of the time, especially when you go into this dialysis center, it's a very depressing place. I mean, it really is, So I just be I guess emphatic or empathetic. I don't know what the word is. Not just sympathetic about their plight, or anybody with chronic kidney disease, because it is, there is not much physical pain, but there's some kind of an emotional, psychological pain that persists, and we know there is really no cure for chronic kidney disease, at least not that they've found so far. And even transplantation is not a cure. It is a treatment that will prolong our lives. But the problem is, because of the lack of living kidney donors, the wait is 4 to 7 years. And a lot of those of us on dialysis and with end-stage chronic kidney disease, a lot of us are, just waiting and hoping and praying, So, but, somehow I've learned to manage that, that the waiting period, because it's, that's one thing I learned throughout this process, patience. I was so impatient before. If I wanted to do something and achieve something, I would get on it, and I'm like, man, why isn't it happening so soon, But I've learned about, patience, persistence, and the power of prayer, and so in perspective, before you look at your life and you're thinking, oh man, I still got, like, especially when you're in your 20s or 30s, you feel like you're immortal. But man, ever since I was on end stage kidney disease about 3 years ago, I realized my mortality, which we all do. And it is not, it gives you a sense of urgency to do the things you really want to do and make a difference and really love the people in your circle, especially in your like family and friends. So there's that. But, there's also that part where, oh, you know what? If something worries me, what's it going to be like, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Maybe I'm no longer going to be here, so it won't matter. So it's that's the paradox of realizing and being face to face with your mortality on a daily basis. So realizing that we're mortals, at least that's what I realized, not going to live forever, but something that I can do now, like, writing a book or writing books, chronicling my daily life, and being as good of a role model for my kids as possible. Although realizing we're not perfect, I am far from perfect. Oh my God, I'm one of the most imperfect people in the whole entire universe. But you do your best, and I do my best because I know my kids are watching me. They're hearing me, In fact, I'm going to leave you with this. I was in a car about maybe a month ago, and I was talking to my son because he was upset about something, and he's also another impatient boy. He got it from me, and I told him, you know what, you gotta learn how to develop grit, and I said, do you know what grit means? And he said, yeah, Daddy, something about being persistent and really you go through whatever struggles you go through in just doing your best you can. And he said, who do you know who has the grit? And then he blurted out, you, Daddy. I said, what do you mean? Because you never give up. You've been in search of your kidney donor, and you've been on dialysis for a long time, but I've never seen you give up, ever, or complain. And I said, wow, he's been watching, he's been observing. So anyway, so those are my random thoughts for tonight. And I appreciate your time and attention. And if you have any questions, if there's anything I can do for you to help you, let me know. Just send me a message on Facebook Messenger. And with that, I will say good night because I need to go to bed because I have a full day tomorrow seeing patients. And actually, I'm going to see Anton, which I look forward to at lunch. All right, you take care. Have a great evening. And for those on the other side of the world, have a great day. Bye-bye for now.